Hello everyone, I'm Triple J, and welcome to some comic news. For starters, I would like to talk about a new title from Marvel that has been gaining in popularity over the past couple of weeks. I'm talking about Silk, written by Robbie Thompson and drawn by Stacey Lee. Silk is the new ongoing series about an Asian American woman who is learning to rebuild her life after some very eventful past few months, as shown within the Spider-Man series and the latest Spider-Verse event. Now, who is Silk, you may ask? Well, Silk's real name is Cindy Moon, and she was a young girl who was bitten by the same irradiated spider that bit Peter Parker all those years ago, thus giving her a variety of powers similar to Spider-Man's, as well as a couple of additions, such as, well, spider claws from her fingertips, as well as organic webbing. Now, when she first developed her powers, she accidentally webbed up her parents, and then was kidnapped by a dude named Ezekiel Sims, who trained her in the proper use of her powers, and then hid her away for 10 years for her own good. And that brings me to my dilemma about this character and this series. On the one hand, it's important that we have a diverse representation within our media. And as a friend pointed out, Silk is one of the few Asian superheroes who's not of the Lady Dragon trope, which is, the killer martial artist. She also has a really cool costume. And we seem to be in this renaissance of great redesigns and new costumes for female superheroes that just look absolutely fantastic. Heck, Spider-Woman herself recently got a redesign on top of, Batgirl. And not to mention other new characters, like the new Thor has a cool costume. Miss Marvel has a new costume, or a cool costume. Captain Marvel has a new costume that looks great. On the other hand, people seem to be forgetting that she was created by Dan Slott. Dan Slott, a complete prick of a writer who can't take criticism other than personally, and who's actually gone on to harass and stalk and just get really pissy with some of my friends online. Yes, that might be a bit personal, but holy hell, if you had seen half the stuff that this guy writes, not to mention that Silk's first few appearances within the Spider-Man line were of the overly sexualized exotic Asian trope, which is pretty frankly disgusting. Her first costume was nothing more than a bunch of Spider-Man's webbing covering her entire body, which is also pretty disgusting to even think about. So obviously you can see the conflict in supporting this character. I know I don't even like the idea of supporting a character created by someone who is really a not very nice person, as well as the problematic aspects of her origin, such as, the being kidnapped and hidden away for her own good. In other news, it has been confirmed in issue 39 of the ongoing Catwoman series that the original Catwoman, Selina Kyle, is bisexual. This again makes me of two minds with issues like this, which is that it is great in that we have more representation of people who are not straight, and especially for bisexuals who seem to have as little to no representation as trans people do. But on the other hand, this is also DC Comics, which recently announced the cancellation of Batwoman after putting on an atrocious writer who broke up Kate Kane and her longtime girlfriend in order to appease some goddamn bigot, and then had Kate Kane raped by an evil bisexual vampire. Honestly, half the time it feels like one step forward, one step back, over a cliff. Back at Marvel, the latest issue of the new Thor series had the new Thor kicking the ass of the Absorbing Man after he proved himself to be a sexist, misogynistic prick who used feminist like a four-letter word. And I am all for that. Heck, if we can have this new Thor kicking the butt of the Marvel metaphor equivalent of a men's right activist, could we have her go after the Gamergators next? I mean, it's Marvel. You got to have some kind of equivalent for that. I pay good money for that. I really would. And in one last bit of news from Marvel, there's a rumor going around, a small but strong and steady one, that now that Marvel has the rights to Spider-Man and are going to be putting him into the Infinity War movies of the Avengers, that Spider-Man will be black. That's great. I wish it would happen. Heck, I've always kind of thought that one thing that they could have done was to have Miles Morales brought in as Spider-Man instead of Peter Parker, which just would have made all the racist trolls' heads explode, which would also be a good thing. And you do know that they are going to come out in force. The whining little pricks are going to complain and cry about how another character is taken away from them. Oh, boo-hoo. I mean, these are seriously the same people who are whining and putting up just a giant whine fest over Jason Mamoa being Aquaman, despite, what, 60 years of the guy being a white blonde dude in comics, to say nothing of the animated series and all the movies, the animated movies that he's been in. I mean, seriously, if your ego is that fragile, it does deserve to be shattered by, reality. And besides, have you seen that picture? Holy smokes! Jason Mamoa looks like a king. I mean, I am not stoked about this new Justice League movie. I'm really not. But this makes me stoked. It's starting to become one of the... Jason Momoa as Aquaman is beginning to be one of the reasons why I really do hope it succeeds. And I hope that he gets his own movie because of it. And I don't even like Aquaman. Well, that's the latest bit of comic and superhero movie news that I've got for you. I'm Triple J. That's all I've got left to say. Take care.